All right, welcome back, everybody. How's it going? Mia and I have been peeping in sessions and truly watching so many interesting conversations occur with them. I know that I went to Tech Plus Heuristics, Tech Plus Food. We had a networking session, and then Mia was there for Tech Plus Poker. So we saw so many amazing conversations. In the chat, why don't you guys drop down some of the sessions you guys visited and some things you learned? We would love to hear from you.
Yeah. I think that this has been really, really fun. It's been a crazy day full of so many amazing opportunities and opportunities to just, lead and understand and also empower at the same time. So it's been really, really amazing. We would love to hear all of your comments and understandings of what this day has kind of looked like for you. We also would love to hear your favorite sessions, some cool things that you've learned, anyone cool that you've met. We're very excited to hear.
Tech Plus Poker. Yes, I've been hearing great things about Tech Plus Poker.
Yeah, I actually just got back from Tech Plus Poker, and it was super awesome. I think that the great amount of enthusiasm was really what transpired my love and creativity when it came to poker and kind of understanding the session in itself. It was a super cool learning experience. I totally agree.
I know Tech Plus Heuristics was a popular one as well because no one really knew what heuristics were before attending it. So I know that was interesting as well. With that said, we will be introducing our second keynote of the day, Neeta Singh Kaushal. Neeta is the founder of Miss CEO, a company that empowers students and women with world-class leadership training, mentorship, and career exploration opportunities. Since its founding in 2011, Miss CEO has trained over 100,000 students all over the world. Nita is currently a lecturer in the School of Engineering at Stanford University and an instructor at Stanford Continuing Studies, where she teaches undergraduates, graduate students, and professionals how to develop leadership skills so they can make meaningful contributions in their career.
Nita's work inspiring young women has profiled by many prominent publications, including Stanford Magazine, Yahoo Entertainment, Clayman Institute for Gender Research, and Women of Silicon Valley. Prior to Miss CEO, Nita held senior product management, engineering, and operations roles at Yahoo and Intel. She has served on the Stanford Women's Community Center Advisory Board, as well as she has led Yahoo Women in Tech, and a 500 plus member organization committed to attracting, developing, and retaining more women in technical and executive positions. Nita graduated from Stanford University with a degree in electrical engineering. Thank you so much, Nita, for being here with us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Sonia and Mia, and I appreciate the wonderful and generous introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. And shall I just pull up my slides right now and get started?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, wonderful. So let me get into presentation mode and show you what I have. Can everybody see my slides okay? Hope it's showing up. Okay. Well, it is a pleasure to be here and present to all of you here at GirlCon. And I'm just so inspired by the mission of what your organization does and the work that you're doing. I know it's no easy feat to put on a conference of any nature, but especially the one that you put together it's an amazing accomplishment. I hope everybody who's involved, everyone who's organizing or even attending just feels really, really proud about this whole experience. Because I am fortunate enough to be your, I guess, closing keynote. I was thinking, because I've been a part of many different events and different conferences through the years, and I always think about what I want to leave the attendees, after you go through these inspiring days together, and what you want to take away from this experience so you can apply to your own life. And so that's why the title of my presentation is How to Aim High and Achieve Impact. In fact, it's sort of been a guiding um, just mantra for me in terms of how I approach my life and what I've been doing with my career. So, as you can tell from my introduction that was shared, I do a lot of work teaching students of all ages, middle school, high school, college, and professionals, how to build applicable leadership skills that they can take to their life. So, if you have an interest, if there's something you want to pursue, how can you elevate yourself on your personal and professional trajectory and become the leader that you deserve to be and get recognized as such? Um, and in teaching all of these students, I notice something in particular when I teach young women in high school and in college. And the one thing that I hear over and over again is, if I can just, leadership is great, those skills are great, but guess what? I have some high priority things right now. I have this big test coming up. I just need to get a good score on it. I need to just get this internship. I just need to get this research position. I just need to finish this application for this job or this college or whatever. I just need to get through that. I need to get through my homework. I need to just get into my dream school. If I get into my dream school, guess what? Guess what? I can figure out the rest because I will be all set, right? Let me just get through this next near-term milestone and the rest will come into place, I'm sure. Who put yourself in comments? Did I get those milestones that are like in front of you right now? Is there anything that I missed here that you feel like I just need to get through this one thing and then I will feel like I made it, or I made it at least in the short term? Does anybody have anything to add to this? Or did I get the big ones, especially given your age and your stage in life? So I think that what we want to do is kind of think a bit big picture, because I too was like this. When I was in high school, I was born and raised in the Bay Area, so San Jose, California, to be exact. I don't know if I have anybody who goes to Leland or knows about Leland High School. I was a hardworking student. I tried to get good grades and do all the right things. I was heads down. I just wanted to, do the things that were expected of me. And I realized that, especially when I went to college, I ended up majoring in electrical engineering at Stanford. I realized that this mindset was not going to help me think big picture or think about how to create a meaningful life. So while I was really excited to get to my dream school, and I was really excited about the potential opportunities to take advantage of, there was something about the environment that I realized that what helped me succeed in high school, it was no longer the same formula that I should be using. So being heads down, waiting for people to give me instructions, trying to please everybody around me, that was no longer going to work in an environment that expected me to step outside of my comfort zone, stretch myself, especially in an environment that was not as welcoming to women, because I was one of a handful of girls in my major. And I had to figure out, who were my people? Who do I look to for advice and guidance and help? So a lot of these questions started to, I think, make me question my own confidence and even if I deserve to be there. So when I started working, I realized that I could see in front of me why the statistics were the way they were in terms of women in leadership and women in management. I saw that it wasn't the fact that we weren't educated enough or there weren't enough of us in the field. In fact, it's 50-50 when you're entering the professional world. The issue is more of an upgrade situation where we're not getting women promoted into management ranks. And there's something missing there in terms of our education and our skill set that we need to figure out so we can change these numbers. I know many of you have probably, this is probably the inspiration about why you are here and doing the work that you're doing at GirlCon, but you see the headlines. You feel some of this maybe when you're in your STEM classes or robotics or any extracurricular or activity where you feel like there's not enough of people like me represented here. And I feel like that is the motivation as to why I started early. Being a woman in tech, working in the field, working in the trenches, and experiencing firsthand some of these challenges, why we needed to have more support for women as early as middle school and high school in terms of our leadership skills development, our mentorship, and our career exploration opportunities, so that we can become great leaders and innovators, because we definitely deserve to be in these environments. So I started Miss CEO over a decade ago, and it's been such a wild ride. It's not something that I thought I would ever do, to be honest, because once again, I was an electrical engineer major who started out working at companies like Intel and Yahoo, and I thought that was going to be my role for life. And what I was really trying to do when I started Miss CEO was just fill a gap. I was trying to teach the skills that I wish I had learned. Nowhere did I know that this organization would grow the way it did, that I would impact thousands of students around the world, and that it would really change my life as well. So it's been such a wild ride, and I'm sure for many of you, as you think about your future paths, you'll also see that somehow you can connect the dots looking backward, versus when you're looking ahead. It's all about just trying to figure out what am I trying to solve next? What am I trying to answer next? And then seeing how it all makes sense when you reflect. So that's a little bit about why I started Miss CEO. And we're here today because I wanted to give you while I only have a little bit of time with you here, and we do year-long programs and different workshops that we host for young women throughout the year. I thought I could give you a little snapshot of this leadership toolkit that we teach on Miss CEO. So the skills that we teach, we feel like are extremely valuable because these are skills that aren't traditionally taught in the classroom, but we feel like they should be. We're talking about skills like advocating for yourself, how to manage your time effectively, how to effectively communicate. And I'm not talking about speech and debate or mock trial communication, which is fabulous. I think if you're getting practice when it comes to public speaking, that's wonderful for you. But I'm talking about, how do you organize your points so they're compelling? How do you go into a meeting with somebody important or present your ideas so that people can rally behind them? This is where it starts to become really important as you get older in your career, and you're trying to navigate the leadership setting. So these are the skills that we teach. We see a strong correlation with women leaders who have these skills as being accomplished, satisfied in their careers, and feeling like they're respected. And I think that these are some skills that you should probably be more aware of and try to find ways to build. The thing at Miss CEO that we do, I think, particularly well, is that we don't like to live in the theory. So I brought up a lot of skills that I'm sure many of you are familiar with and you know are important for women to work on. But beyond that, it may be a struggle for you because you're thinking, how do I actually make this work for me? I don't know, even though I know negotiation and asking for what I deserve is important, I don't know how to do that. Or I know I should manage my time and focus my energies on the things that matter. Or when I pitch myself, I should focus on my strengths and not worry so much about what my friends or peers are doing. So I know that it's challenging to figure out how to make this actionable and practical. And that's where I think Miss CEO thrives, because we try to take it beyond the theory. We try to take it beyond the inspiring advice that you could probably watch in a TED Talk or find on TikTok or read about. And we really want you to walk away from our programs with an actual script and template that's going to work for you, because it's in that practice where you actually start to see change. So this is my challenge today. In the few minutes that we have, I want to give you some practical advice about how you can start to use this leadership toolkit today. So my first piece of advice is around forging the right alliances. So you may have seen in the toolkit that networking was one of the topics. And I know that for most of us, networking is a funny word. It feels like I'm trying to use somebody. It doesn't feel necessarily authentic. It doesn't feel like it's a natural connection. And this is actually something that a lot of my professional students struggle with. They know that they should have this vibrant, lively, helpful network, but they struggle with trying to figure out those connections. And in fact, when I was in high school, I didn't even think about this. I was busy enough with my friends. I was busy enough with my teachers. I had some counselors. I had my parents. I didn't really feel like I needed to network beyond that. Well, I'm here to tell you that I think it would add significantly to your life and to your goals if you can start meeting the right people. And not just anyone, because I know that many of you are social enough, and that's not the problem. I mean, people that can strategically help you when it comes to your goals. And I'm going to call these types of people sponsors. A sponsor is somebody who maybe they're in a high position in their industry or in their job or in their organization. And because of where they stand, they can play an active role in opening and making opportunities available to you. For example, it could be a hiring manager at a company that you might want to intern at. It can be a counselor at school who knows your areas of passion and can link you up with an interesting intern opportunity. It can be a guest speaker that you heard at GirlCon that you connect with, and because you really like that person's talk and you really want to learn more about what they have to do. And as a result of that follow-up, you get to know them better, and they can be an incredible resource for you. So my takeaway here for you is to find more sponsors. It has both long-term and short-term benefits. The way that I go about connecting with people, because I'm all about it coming from an authentic place, is that if I feel some sort of connection or attraction to a person where I'm like, wow, that person's doing something that I would be interested in learning more about, or that person is somebody, even though they're not in an area that I want to pursue, there's so much about their style that I would love to learn. I would think about that, and I would think about how I can get in front of them. Maybe sending them an email, specifically telling them, these are my areas of interest, and this is how I see it overlapping with what you're doing. Telling them, could you happen to have a few minutes to chat? The reason I'm going to you versus anybody else in this space is because of, and be as specific as possible. If you give them a generic request, most likely you will get a generic response or no response at all, because people are busy. Lots of things are happening. But if they sense that you took the extra time and effort to really study them and understand what they're all about, or understand how they can be helpful for you, they'll really appreciate that. And I think a lot of them will try to find the time to make it work for you. So I encourage you to send emails to people that may be of interest to you on this front. And that's not it. I want this to be a long-term thing. It can be, while it may feel intimidating to send an email to somebody new, I do think that it's a great exercise for you to start meeting different people outside of your immediate circles, getting different perspectives, getting different ideas, connecting with inspiring people for inspiring ideas and opportunities. And hopefully, if you have the chance to meet up, hopefully there'll be some constructive or productive conversation in there. And because I don't want it to be a one-time thing, I highly encourage you to go beyond the thank you and send a specific follow-up email saying, I really appreciated our conversation. As a result of the things I learned from you, I plan to do X and Y and Z. I think showing them a plan in terms of what you learned and how you're going to use it demonstrates such initiative. It's very moving. It's very memorable. And they would want to keep you around because you are worth investing in. I mean, everybody finds it to be the ultimate compliment when someone takes their advice. And so this is the same thing. So definitely go take the extra step to show your appreciation in this way. And I guarantee, while I can't promise that every potential sponsor will respond to you, if you follow this template enough, you will start to get the responses that you need to find these opportunities that can really be transformative for you. So find sponsors. My second piece of advice for all of you is, while I think communication is incredibly important, I love all things communication. In fact, I do it frequently. I get a lot of practice with communication because I have to teach so much and conduct workshops and leadership presentations. And I find that it's the people who have this skill, they have an advantage in the room. They have an advantage when it comes to making a point or getting what they want to get done. So it's definitely something, if you feel shy or uneasy about, find the time to invest in this, whether you sign up for an activity that encourages a lot of practice around communication, or you just keep putting yourself out there until you feel more comfortable and find your voice. Definitely do it. But beyond the just, the public speaking skills that we should all have, I want you to be able, when you meet with potential sponsors or people or teachers or intern managers or lab managers, have the ability not to just be a sponge or a passive participant. Have the ability to clearly communicate where you want to go. What does that mean? Oftentimes when we're young, we're hesitant to have a point of view or maybe even clarify and share our goals with other people. But there is power to doing that. And I'm not just talking about the very high level vague goal of I want to work really hard and get into this college and major in data science. I'm talking specifically about being, really authentic in terms of who you are, what you enjoy doing, and how you want to maybe elevate that or change it or take it to the next level, or opportunities you want to explore. Be very, very specific. Because the more specific you are, the other person, the right person, can respond to that. So I work and I mentor thousands of students a year. And I find the ones when they're very vague in terms of their goals and the areas that they're going after, I struggle with trying to figure out how to help them. But the students that have a very specific goal, then I start to think about, okay, who do I know who can help this person? Or I know these resources that could be helpful, because it makes it easy for me. So have the ability to share your goal, be brave about doing so. And also, when you share your goal, be confident when you do so, because this is a part of you. You want to be able to focus on the specifics of it, but as well as the delivery, because that excitement, that passion is contagious. And when I'm around that energy, I want to help it. I want to make it thrive. So practice this skill. So you might have heard me mention initiative before, especially when I talked about reaching out to sponsors and communicating your goals. And demonstrating initiative is a really special quality. And if you have the ability to demonstrate initiative, whether it's, I want to start something, I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to mock something up, or I'm just going to get two people in the room and try it with them, or I'm going to, put together an idea and see what happens. There is definite magic to that. I respect that. I think it shows me that you're not stuck in your own head. You're willing to try. You're willing to take risks. You're willing to learn from the data points to see what you can do to make it better. I have a good story when it comes to initiative. So when I started Miss CEO over 10 years ago, for a long time, my team and we were sort of the central body organizing all of these different programs and events all over the country, all over the world, in fact. And we thought we had a great idea in terms of our curriculum and a great idea in terms of our programming and our schedule. And one day, a student came to one of our Stanford workshops, and she loved the experience, and she emailed me right away. So she followed the sponsor advice that I give, sending an informational interview request. And the reason I responded to her informational interview request was, one, she was very specific about how much she enjoyed the workshop, what she learned, how she was planning on using the skills. And the other thing that caught my eye was she said, the stuff that you're teaching, I think my community could really benefit from it. And I have some ideas of a summer program that we could host at the local library. I can get all the logistics together, but I think it could really benefit the young women in my area who are looking for this type of mentorship and education. And I was blown away because, sure, I get inquiries all the time about expanding Miss CEO and growing Miss CEO and bringing Miss CEO to various schools, but I had never seen it at that level of detail. And she really had figured out a lot of this stuff. She did a lot of pre-work so that this email, when I read it, I was actually very eager to meet with her and see what she had in mind and see if we could make this work. And so this was a wonderful example of initiative. I think that just being able to say, you know, I'm willing to show up, I'm willing to try this, I'm willing to sign up. In the process, you may not get it right, but being enthusiastic and open and willing to learn and having intellectual humility in the process is really important, because while you may not be able to call everything a win, you will learn a lot about yourself in the process. So this picture actually is from that cohort. So she started this Miss CEO Club that summer in Gilroy, and it was a hit. She had all these local girls come to these leadership workshops. It was the beginnings of our Miss CEO Ambassador program. And this was many years ago. Now she's graduated from Stanford, but we still talk about how this was such an impactful part of her education and for impacting her community. So initiative. And then finally, if you're doing all of these things, you're stretching yourself outside of your comfort zone by trying to connect with potential sponsors, trying to communicate where you want to go, demonstrating initiative, signing up, trying new things, whether regardless if you think it's going to work or not. I recognize how, nerve-wracking that can be, because for a lot of us, it's hard enough to just stay on top of our to-do list. And then to put another layer of figuring all of this out can be hard. And here's what I want to say. I still believe, and I hope you believe too, that this is worth doing. And it's not something you should put off. In fact, the students that are practicing this early, they have an advantage because they are putting themselves out there. They're figuring out what's out there. They're failing, they're winning, and they're collecting precious data points along the way. Right? So sometimes when you try something, you're not going to get it. And this has happened to me countless times. So I know that this is a part of life. It doesn't matter how successful you are. There are times where you don't always get what you want, even with hard work. And in those moments, my process, at least when I was younger, it wasn't so pretty. When I didn't get what I wanted, or I had a failure or a challenge or a bad grade or didn't get the job that I wanted, I was really hard on myself. Everything from tears to locking myself in my room to not even being in denial, even not even wanting to think about it because it was too painful. And it's only now in my adulthood, and because I've spent a lot of time thinking about growth and personal growth at that, do I recognize how valuable those experiences were. And I wish that while it's okay to be, to feel remorse or pain or anger or sadness, those are perfectly fine to feel. When you're ready, it's important for you to be able to look at that experience and say, okay, what was I supposed to learn from this? What is going on here, right? Why did I fail? Is there something that I could have done differently? If it's just a random screw up or mistake where it rarely happens and it was just bad luck, perhaps there's nothing to learn. But if it was something that I find is a reoccurring issue for me, for example, maybe there's a presentation that I keep bombing and I really don't have to if I did the extra effort that was required. Or perhaps I know my weakness. I'm a very reactive person. So perhaps I shouldn't send a response to emails when they upset me. I should wait a day and respond when I feel ready. So this is to say that some doors are going to close and some doors are going to open. And I find that I'm able to open doors in the future when I learn from my past mistakes and challenges, only if I look at them. Otherwise, I keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And to me, that's boring, honestly. I know that life is going to be consistently filled with challenges, but I'm more interested in conquering new challenges versus the same ones over and over again. So if any of you feel like you're kind of stuck in a certain area or it's holding you back, or where you even have shame from a previous challenge or failure, maybe be nice to yourself and look at that a little bit closer and think about, okay, it doesn't have to happen again if I do this next time. Or maybe I can try this next time. and see if you can attain some of that growth and maturity when it comes to looking at this, because this will continue to happen. And at some point, I want you to look at this and say, you know what? Failure means I'm stretching myself on a regular basis, and I'm going to be proud about that. Speaking of failure, and actually speaking of sponsors, I have a story. So, when I was working as a product manager back in the day, and I remember feeling like, okay, on paper, I have this great high paying job. I'm in a management position. I'm doing all the things that my parents are very proud of. But I still felt like there was a part of me that was looking to be fulfilled. And this was in the very, very early days before I even started Miss CEO, but I knew that I wanted an organization, or I wanted more support when it came to my own professional development and leadership development. And so, as kind of a way to try it out, this is a little bit about taking initiative. I decided to join our Women in Tech group and at the company, and help with a lot of their programming, learn what organizations like that do. And through that process, they saw my work and they asked me to lead the organization. So that was wonderful. I'm really glad that I showed up and demonstrated initiative so that I could get that opportunity. One day, we invited this fabulous guest speaker. Her name is Dr. Maria Clave, and her picture is right here. And she is the president of Harvey Mudd. She is a world-renowned computer scientist, and just a very well-known and respected woman in STEM, an advocate for women in STEM. And she gave a very inspiring talk that day, and I was very moved. So I decided to follow up and send her an email to connect, specifically telling her how she impacted me. And we met up and we struck a friendship, and it was really nice. So over the years, I've been able to chat with her here and there, get meaningful advice, get guidance. And I find her to be such a wonderful sponsor in my life, because she's given me perspective and advice and opportunities that I don't think I would have had otherwise. And so I want to leave you with a quote that she has, because I think it's very fitting given the nature of what we're discussing here today and what we're trying to achieve. And it's this: I wake up most days with the voice on the left side of my head telling me what an incredible failure I am. But the voice on the right side tells me that I can change the world. And I try to pay more attention to it. So if somebody as accomplished and as amazing as Dr. Maria Clave feels this way and struggles with this, I want to let you know that you're not alone. We all have days where it seems tough, it seems hard, but to have the courage to still show up anyway, still try anyway, that's where the magic is. And I hope you always lean in that direction. So thank you so much for this opportunity to close your wonderful conference. I hope all of you will remember to be the Miss CEO of your life, and even connect with our organization and show up at a future program so we can continue discussing these skills in detail and helping you with both your short-term and long-term goals. I wish you all the very best, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to do a quick little Q&A session where people in the chat are actually able to type all their questions in, and we are going to talk a little bit about them, and then we can hand over the questions to you. So if anyone has any questions, we already have a question. Awesome. Where can we sign up for Miss CEO programs? Are there any in-person ones? If so, where can I find them?
Love it. Great question. I'm so excited. People are excited to learn more about Miss CEO. We do both in person and we do virtual programming, because we want to accommodate our students from all over the world. The best next step you can take is just go to the Miss CEO website, make sure you're on our newsletter, and you will hear about events as they are announced. And I also encourage you, if you want to stay in touch, you can find us on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn or any of these kind of social media sites, find me personally. I'm happy to be connected with you. Send me a note about what you learned from my talk today. That'd be a wonderful way to follow up with me. And I'm happy to help cheer you on in terms of the things that you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you for all the information on that. Another question is, do you ever struggle with confidence or imposter syndrome? How do you overcome it?
Oh, yes. Imposter syndrome and confidence. I think the way of framing that is just knowing that this is a part of the process always. Whenever you put yourself in a new situation, I don't think it's something to expect that you're going to fully dominate or get over. So I always see when I struggle with confidence, I know it's a sign that I'm doing something different, harder, outside of my comfort zone, and that to me is a good sign because I want to keep growing. I want to keep changing. I want to keep evolving as a human. So I lean into that a little bit. And the other part of, you know, combating it or dealing with it, for me, I don't think I fully feel confident with anything until I've done it a lot of times. So, an example could be public speaking. I was terrified of public speaking when I was in middle school and even high school. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. Um, I forced myself to take like speech and debate because I knew I needed to figure this out. And I even found while I did well enough in speech and debate, I found that that was even different than speaking in the classroom. So I could like speak to a bunch of strangers on a weekend during a competition, and that was fine. But when I had to share my point of view in the classroom, or it was a different nature of a talk, it was still hard for me. So I think this really resolved for me when I had to put myself in a position where I had to do this all the time. And pretty soon, when you're doing anything enough times, you realize, oh, I got this. I'm actually considered good at this. I'm doing it. I'm figuring it out. I'm showing up. I know how I can improve it next time. And so for me, the whole process is to continue being action oriented about it. Like I'm not going to sit in my head and overthink it or worry about it. I'm actually going to say, okay, I got to get some more opportunities to practice this so I can feel better about it. So that's my advice is anything that you're struggling with, try to see if there are safe places where you can practice and try to find your voice with it.
Awesome. That was actually a great answer. Another thing is we also got the question, who was your biggest role model growing up and why?
Oh, that's a really good question. You know, I would have to say, for me, a person that I really admired happened to be my speech and debate coach, Mrs. Brasher. Um, she ran this incredible program at our Leland High School. We went to a public high school, so we had public high school resources, but she ran it like it was a top tier organization. And I was just amazed at her level of initiative and energy and dedication, and how she was able to push each and every student, because there's a lot of students in this program, how she was able to like individualize the program for them and push them to their potential. And it was just incredible to see. It was incredible to be a part of that and to see what a well-run organization looks like and to see what a great coach looks like. Because now I realize that I look at her as sort of an inspiration in terms of when I try to teach. So she definitely had a big impact on me.
Yeah, definitely. I think role models play a huge role in shaping the way you kind of like frame your aspirations as well. So that makes like a lot of sense. So our last question for you is, when it comes to finding sponsors or mentors, what would you do to cold connect?
So cold connecting is an art. And I think like for me, there's two things that I consider first. So the first would be, does it have to be a cold connect? Meaning, first of all, is there somebody that can introduce me? Is there a way that I can get my foot in the door and perhaps in a more organic way? Like, for example, did this person speak at a conference that I was at? Or did I read this person's paper? Or is there somebody that we have a mutual connection that can help me meet this person? So the reason I want to do that is because I want to be considered a trusted person reaching out to this person so I can increase my odds of getting a response. And the other part about it is, while you may have some networking targets, like you're like, oh, this person would be incredible. I read about this person. She would be an amazing sponsor and an amazing role model. Sometimes, as your first initial steps, you don't have to necessarily go after the first person that comes to mind. there may be people that are closer to you that you can still reach out to and get really meaningful information. They can be just as helpful, and they can connect you to more people that are in the same category that you're looking for. So I think we should be open-minded when we're reaching out to people and think about all the different people that can help you on that journey. So I think, so those are the two things, trying to make it as personal as possible, whether it's through a mutual connection or really showing that you did your homework to learn about the person when you're connecting with them, so they know you're not just some random person on the internet. And the second is being open to the people that are even closer to you. There could be people at your school or in your community or in your activities that can also be very helpful. And you just didn't know that yet because you didn't articulate your goal to them. So explore both avenues is my suggestion.
Definitely. And then we have another question here. How do you combat biases in the tech industry, especially those towards women? What steps can young people take now to overcome these biases and challenges?
Yeah, the thing about biases and stereotypes is they are what they are, right? Like, they're around there. And while I would love to feel like we could eradicate all of them, it could be a perfect world, I'm also realistic that there is just some situations, some cultures, some people that it's going to be a real challenge. So that being said, I think what you need to recognize is your own power in that situation. So while you may be in an environment that's not as welcoming to women, let's say, we need to figure out, how do we preserve our confidence, our belief in our skill set, and find the people, even in that community, that have our back, that understand our value and understand our credibility, because they do exist. Not everybody in an environment will think the same way or be the same way. And I think the key is to try to connect with your allies, find the right people across all genders. You don't have to just find women helping women. You can find anybody who can be really helpful for you and understands what's important. And I think that will give you a lot of strength when it feels difficult. So don't focus your attention so much, I would say, on some of that noise, because that's really what it is. And rarely do those people get very far, especially the ones that are trying to play those games or be political, because they're spending so much of their time on that negative energy. I don't think it's doing anything to build up anything or contribute positively. And I really don't see them, it working out well for them in the long run. So have faith in your abilities, preserve that whenever possible, and find your people. That's what's really helped me.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much. It's truly been a pleasure having you and sharing your story with the GirlCon community. I know that people are very heavily inspired by you. You truly are an inspiration to so many, and your passions have been really incredible and have helped so many girls across the world. So it's been amazing being able to work with you, and especially I think that so many people will probably connect with you after this, just because of how willing you are to make sure that, the next generation of female leaders have the proper, tools in their back pocket to make sure that they can go out and see the world.
Thank you. I hope so. I wish you all the very best. And again, I think all of you even just showing up here speaks volumes about where you're going to go, because you're coming to things like this with the right intention, with purpose, and you're trying to find meaning. And it's more than just the good grades and, getting the tests and getting the homework done. It's about figuring out who you want to be and putting a plan in place to get there. So I wish you all the very best, and I hope to stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
You truly are an inspiration to everybody here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Nita, for sharing your story with us. It is women like yourself that remind us to be brave and lead with humility and grace. Looking back at this year of planning and execution, we as the GirlCon board could not be more proud. As scary as it seemed setting off to plan our 6th annual conference, this year has been defined by tremendous growth. We set off to organize a hybrid event, multiply our impacts exponentially, Go back to our lively in-person format in the city of Chicago and watch as our team defied all expectations and excelled through every challenge that came their way.
To start, we have seen tremendous growth individually, with each team member becoming comfortable and confident in their own voices, ready to take the mic in a meeting and share their perspectives. We've also seen growth among our phenomenal attendees as you all get involved with us year after year. We're happy to share we are about to cross the 4,000 mark this year of young women impacted by GirlCon over the past 6 years. We are so excited to see and support the constant growth of GirlCon and grateful for all the young people that are a part of it.
Exactly. Another exciting area in which we've seen growth is simply in the depth and breadth of topics and discussions that we have at GirlCon each year. From media to recycling to travel to intellectual property, it's abundantly clear and ever exciting that the impact that technology is having across industries is expanding rapidly and affecting us all. And we hope that you heard and saw yourself in the speakers this past week and see yourself as the leader in technology that the future needs. The future needs each and every one of you, and we hope that this past week you have found those inspirations, friendships, and the encouragement you need to move forward, regardless of where your passion can be. Whether that's in the courtroom, designer studio, or Capitol Hill, you have this sisterhood and mentorship to support you along the way. Many of you have done this already, but connect with everyone you have met over LinkedIn or email, and we are here to support you every step of the way. Lean on the people you've met, launch forward to the next adventure together, and live stream or even carpool to GirlCon together next year.
As we reflect on the past 6 years of GirlCon, there are certain people and places that have made an immeasurable impact. A very special thank you to Ramona, Alex, and the ISACA Chicago team, the RSM team, including Marissa, Janine, Deborah, and all of our RSM volunteers, and to the entire CME group. And of course, the magic that has continued to live on would not be possible without the phenomenal dedication and motivation of our core team. Sanya, Mia, Riddhi, Chris, Sumaya, Maida, Michelle, Morgan, Danica, and Dia. Proud doesn't begin to describe how we feel when we see each and every one of you work to turn the GirlCon vision into a reality. We are inspired, humbled, and grateful beyond words can describe. To our graduating seniors, Sanya, Mia, Riddhi, Chris, and Michelle, we cannot wait to see where this next chapter will take you and the lives you will touch.
The empowerment, networking, and inspiration that have all taken place here this weekend would not have been possible without every single one of our brilliant attendees here with us today. We hope that you continue to stay involved with GirlCon and support our mission, whether that be through a donation to our cause, sharing a connection to a cool speaker that you know in your life for next year, joining our fully high school organizing team next year, or continuing to attend GirlCon year after year. We hope that you had a wonderful time at GirlCon 2023, and with that, I'll pass it off to our core team for a few more closing remarks. Thanks again, and see you next year, everyone.
Thanks, Kyla and Sneha and the entire board. First of all, wow, what a spectacular weekend this has been. I know I speak for the team when I say that we are truly grateful for your presence and enthusiasm from each and every one of you during the entirety of the conference. I'm also honored to be working on a team that is so amazing and hardworking. These past couple years on the team have been such an inspiring and life-changing experience. These past few months specifically have been quite difficult, with hundreds of FaceTime calls late night, hundreds of emails every day, and schoolwork on top of it. Pulling this conference together was not an easy task, so shout out to the entire GirlCon 2023 team for making it happen. But seeing your engagement, each comment and question in the chat, Instagram stories, reposts, engagement, meeting at sessions was really what made it worth it and what fuels us to run GirlCon every year.
Yes, for sure, Sanya. These past 4 years on the GirlCon team have been absolutely amazing. I'm continuously honored and humbled to be a part of a team of remarkable young women who constantly inspire me. One of the most beautiful parts of GirlCon is that the conference is entirely run by teenagers. Although this sometimes poses a challenge, the GirlCon planning team works tirelessly to make this week both possible and incredible. I would like to thank both the board and the core team for all of your hard work and dedication during this conference. You all continually inspire me to be a better person and team member. Attendees, I hope that you are all able to learn and grow this week. Whether that was meeting someone during a networking session or attending a breakout session, I hope that each and every one of you learned something that you will carry with you post-conference. I cannot wait for the future of GirlCon, and I'm so grateful for everything I have learned while being on this team.
We hope you've all enjoyed your day at GirlCon Digital, and we wanted to conclude the conference by recognizing all the people who have made today possible. I would like to extend a final thank you to our amazing sponsors who have been incredible, instrumental forces in building this conference. And now a huge thank you to all our gold and partner level sponsors: Peak 6, Schneider Electric, ISACA Chicago Chapter, CME Group, RSM, Northwestern Sierra, and AbbVie. This conference would not have been this amazing if it were not for all of you. And now thank you so much to our fiscal sponsor, Bits and Bytes Cybersecurity Education. This conference really would not have been a possibility without your help. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Riddhi. Now for our speakers. Thank you to Vivian Nguyen and Nita Koshal for coming in and speaking to the entirety of GirlCon Digital. These powerful women are impacting the next generation of female leaders. All of our keynote speakers have inspired us beyond words. Your advice, help, and inspiration has empowered thousands of girls from all around the world. Thank you so much for taking up the time of your day to tell your story and leaving our 2023 attendees and team in awe of this conference as our best one yet. Additionally, I wanted to thank everyone who led the breakout sessions. Your guidance and insight has empowered our attendees to fearlessly pursue their passions.
Thank you, Samaya. Before we leave, I want to say a tremendous thank you to our team at Google. This conference would not have been possible without all of you. Special shout out to Sarah Putt and Lauren Walker. We thank you so much for all the work you have done to make these live streams possible. We have learned so much from you, and we are incredibly honored to have you throughout this week and in the past years, and so grateful for this long-lasting partnership.
And finally, a shout out to our design team, PR team, logistics team, and sponsorship team for working so relentlessly through these past months. All of you are incredible people with great minds, and we are so grateful for all the hard work you put into every task, as well as our ambassadors that have been there every step of the way to support this initiative and incredible team.
Beyond these 2 days of GirlCon, there are so many other ways to be involved with our mission. The easiest and best way is to stay connected through our Instagram account. You can follow us on Instagram at GirlConTech. We have many opportunities throughout the year, such as Instagram Lives, account takeovers, lots of posts, and even our team applications coming out later. We also send monthly emails through our newsletter with GirlCon updates, as well as cool opportunities with many of our speakers and sponsors.
Lastly, we would love to have many of you as GirlCon team members. Applications for our core, national, and ambassador teams go live in late November. Make sure to check out our Instagram page and your email often for more information on how to apply. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you again next year.